Good morning, good morning, good morning. The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, and you are breathing. Today is Thursday, July the 13th, 2023. My name is Stephen Carnegie, and welcome to This Is Just a Thought. Today's word of the day, parsimonious, which means exhibiting or marked by thrift or economy. Stingy. Parsimonious. I hope everyone is enjoying that Thursday. The end of the work week is almost here. Almost upon us, man. Been a lovely week, I gotta say, but the weather, man, wow, just wow, just wow. The heat rolls on. It just does. It just does. Touch your neighbor and say 3 times, the heat, the heat, the heat. It ain't gonna stop. Not gonna stop. Temperatures here in this part of North Carolina today is up in the 90s. But real feel, 101 to 102. That heat. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. So if you're out and about or you have to work out in this lovely weather, please stay hydrated. Bring some water along. Hey, I always do. Finally got around to that yard work yesterday morning. I thought I was going to beat it a little bit. Went out about 7 or so, or close to 8. Stayed out there a few minutes, and I could tell the humidity was in the air. Started to drag me. just did. But I did get quite a bit accomplished, I gotta say, surprisingly. Because, yeah, even at 7 or whatever, or maybe even 6 in the morning, that humidity is out there. It's thick. It's the summer. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And, of course, I know you guys have heard also about that flooding up in the northeast, of all places, Vermont. They've gotten hammered with some flooding. Wow. You've seen those that news coverage, those videos of it, man. Unbelievable, unconscionable. And Vermont, of all places. But, hey, it is what it is. We're going to get some rain here tomorrow. What they call sporadic rain. Meaning it's not going to be a downpour all day. It's this little hit and miss thunder showers that pop up. And that's another part of the South. And summer also. But some could be severe. But the main threat appears to be the wind. Wow, like I always say, man, you gotta love the summer in the South. You have to. You just have to. Man, you just have to. All right, let's move along. Let's get on here with it. Man, have you guys been catching wind of what's been going on? What's going on with fans throwing objects at these entertainers while they're performing? The latest was Harry Styles. He got hit with an object. Even Drake. I didn't know Drake, but I just didn't know about Drake. And then there was a young lady. I remember hearing about the first entertainer, the young lady. I can't remember her name right off the top of my head. She got hit in the face with a cell phone. Bruised up her eye pretty good. Still no word on what or what hit Harry Styles or what the object was. You could see the video of him walking off the stage and kind of stumble a little bit. Man. Is that what we're doing now? I mean, unless you receive free tickets, you're paying these out-of-pocket ticket prices and then going and throwing stuff at the entertainers and ending the show? Guess who's going to stand out there and entertain with folks throwing stuff at them? Certainly is odd because, you know, usually when you hear of someone throwing something at the entertainer, it's usually because they're horrible, so they're booing them. Very reminiscent of those medieval times when they used to throw rotten vegetables at folks. Now it appears they're throwing objects, hard objects, cell phone. Like I said, still no word on what they threw at whoever threw at Harry Styles or Drake for that matter. But man, it seems like a complete and utter waste of time to me to spend your hard-earned money to go to a concert and then throw something that's the entertainer and the show ends. I can offer no explanation. Is this your form of entertainment? Maybe it is. You know, I guess the booing stops and you start throwing things at folks. I mean, pretty soon here, there are going to be some more heavy security presence to make sure folks aren't throwing things at these entertainers. Man, I guess that's what folks do now. They go to these shows and disrupt the show. Maybe that's their form of entertainment. Seems kind of odd to me. I gotta say that seems odd to me. Nowhere in the world am I going to pay good money, hard-earned money, and go and disrupt the show. You're going to entertain me, buddy. You just are. I work too hard for mine, and I ain't going to do nothing to disrupt the show. And I hope the next person wouldn't do anything to disrupt the show either. But apparently that's what they're doing. Man, kind of weak-minded mess is that? I have no words. I just don't. Hey, also today is National Friday. French Friday, I should say. Man. Hey, like many of you, I love fries. Hey, McDonald's, but really my favorite is, and I really shouldn't be eating it. I don't eat it like that, but I used to. Those, if you're familiar with this of the South, Bojangles. Those Bojangles fries, man, with that extra seasoning. Yeah, I shouldn't be eating that. I really don't eat it like that. High blood pressure with that extra seasoning, and it's fried. I tell you, one of those things you gotta enjoy. You gotta have you some moments of pleasure, and that certainly is mine as far as the fast food places go. Surprisingly, or not really surprisingly, but I really don't eat fast food like that, like I used to years ago. Just doesn't taste the same to me. And then I guess it depends on who's in there cooking, and you know, like we've all discovered now, nothing tastes the same, whether it be because of COVID or whether it be because of COVID once again, and the personnel they now have in there working. It just doesn't taste the same to me anymore. Doesn't do anything for me. I'll just make my own food, I guess. Just will. So happy National French Fry Day. Go out. Maybe I go out and partake of some of these freebies. Of course, you know McDonald's is offering some, and other restaurants, but they're with a purchase and you get a free fry. Can't knock. I guess they don't want folks just coming in there and getting fries. But hey, between those McDonald's fries and those Bojangle fries, it's a toss up for me. I would be that one individual that would walk in and just ask for a free order of fries. I just would. No meat, nothing else. Just fries. Love them. Man, have you guys caught wind of, especially here locally in Durham, we now have a new mayoral candidate. It's surprising. Just is, and we're getting ready to go get it. It was surprising to me. I've heard about the other three candidates filing last week, because Wednesday was the start of the filing process for the recently. Now we know new mayoral seat that has opened, because current mayor Elaine O'Neill says she's not running. She wants to spend time with her family. So Durham, it appears we have a new mayoral candidate. An old familiar face of sorts. And that will be Senator Mike Woodard. He's running for Durham mayor. He's a former city council candidate, or city councilman, I should say. And now currently he serves in the North Carolina House Senate. So he says, hey, I'm going to run for the mayor of Durham. And it's odd. I guess you could say that's, if you're looking at it from a political standpoint, that may be a step down. Maybe not. But he says he's running. He made the filing sometime last week or earlier this week. He made the filing saying, hey, I'm going to run for mayor of Durham. He's got his work cut out for him. I can tell you that. He just does. He has a tall task that he's quite possibly going to partake. Good luck. Now he came out and released a statement. Like I said, he's a former city council member here in Durham, and he said part of the reason why he ran is because he had heard several local community activists reached out to him and said, hey, run for the open mayoral seat. I wonder who those community activists were. Hey, maybe somehow, some way they think he's a good fit. He could come back and make some changes here in Durham. Much needed. Much needed. But his statement, as to why he's running kind of makes you think. Now, he says, of course, if he wins, he'll step down as senator because that term expires at the end of 2024. And while he's campaigning, he says he's going to continue to serve in the state senate. Okay, that's good. But his statement. Sometimes I read between the lines more than I should, but something in his statement that just jumped out at me. It caught my eye, you might say. Now, I quote. He says, Durham has a lot of great opportunity in the next few years, and it has some challenges. Adding that he has always liked local government. Gives you the warm and fuzzies inside. But let's take a close look at that first part of his statement as to why he's running. He says Durham has got a lot of great opportunity in the next few years. So it appears, me reading between the lines, me overthinking, that's me stepping out on that proverbial limb, he's looking towards the future. The growth that is going on here in Durham. There's a lot of economic growth, a lot of development, a lot of building, a lot of new businesses, startup companies, tech companies are coming here to Durham. We are part of that Research Triangle Park. Let's not forget that. So there is a lot of technical growth that is happening, and more is going to happen. And then we have one of the top medical facilities in the country, Duke Medical Center. So there's a lot of research. Of course, there's going to be a lot of growth, a lot of tech companies, startup companies. An economic boom is happening finally here in Durham. But then let's take a look at that second part where he says there, of course, there's a lot of great opportunity in the next few years and some challenges. Just like anywhere here in this country, Durham has a plethora of problems and challenges with gang activity, crime, gun violence, murder, robbery, run the gamut of the social ills that are occurring anywhere in the country, and Durham mirrors that of the country. Just does. It mirrors that of the nation. It is a constant, everyday topic of conversation. It just is. Now, for those community activists and leaders that came to him and said, hey, would you consider strongly running for mayor of Durham? I wonder what was on their list of priorities or political talking points. If you're listening to or read his statement, it appears to be the growth, the economic growth. That's the top. Now, for us, and I often say and often ask and often question these community activists and community leaders, who are they really working for? Who are they really serving? Or if they are really serving the community as a whole? A lot of times I don't think so. There are some, at least not the part of the community that needs the most help, that has the most problem. Now, the community encompasses not just those that are having woes and struggles of the underserved community. It also entails and includes those that are working for growth and development. Maybe that's the reason he put that first part out there first about the in a few years the economic growth or the growth in general in Durham is it. Let's just be honest with each other. That's pretty much seems to be Just off of that small statement, that's what he's concerned about. And the challenges, well, that'll come second fiddle. There's nothing new. We all know politicians. Their end game, is to generate growth by any and all means necessary. And for those of us that are regular citizens, no matter how much we tell ourselves how much we contribute to the growth and development of Durham, yeah, we do. But politicians, we're second fiddle. They'll just, hey, pop in every now and again, every 4 years or whatever, and ask for your vote for the continued growth and development of the community that you live in. Meanwhile, on the other side of the tracks, there's some folks that aren't really getting served. So, like I asked, who are these community leaders again that came to him and said, hey, run for mayor? What is their motive? What is their end game? I guarantee you it ain't to help those that are really in trouble. The economic growth here in Durham, man, I came to Durham in 1997, and it was, I guess you could say, blighted. Walk downtown Main Street here in Durham, buildings were boarded up. There were empty buildings there. We're not talking about little mom and pop shops. These were buildings, office spaces. Some even banks were boarded up or sitting empty. So from 1997 to the present 2023, Durham has made a complete turnaround. Businesses are back once again downtown Durham. You have a lot of restaurants and bars. You got, like I said, you got a lot of startup companies. And, not too far from downtown Durham in the old tobacco district where the warehouses were, that has turned around tremendously also. So Durham is booming. The housing development, wow. It seems like everywhere you go, every block, not every other block, but every block in Durham, they're putting up some sort of a new apartment building or condos. And then once the once blighted neighborhoods, like I said, I came to Durham in 97, and I told you about downtown Main Street, where there were a lot of communities that I also went through. Those houses, wow, they looked horrible. But you go back now, and you wouldn't believe it. One side of town, I can remember oh so well. It was one of those notorious blighted communities. It was. I can't even say in shambles. It was just sad to look at. A lot of old houses that you could tell that at one point in time they stood beautifully. They were just boarded up, windows busted out, homeless folks, drug addicts in and out, squatters. It was theirs. But now you move ahead and you go back to those same communities. Like I said, you wouldn't recognize them. In fact, so a lot of those old rundown houses, those that they didn't tear down and build new homes, they refurbished them and they are standing tall. But those homes, and also another side of that, a lot of where I said there were a lot of homes, there were some apartments there also. Those have been torn down, and those homes, they now stand at, they are hundreds of thousands of dollars. Some are close to one section. When I say a few hundred, we're talking $4,000 or $500,000 homes in a once ran down, dilapidated neighborhood. Do you think those that are underserved or that got the woes and the troubles of life, you think they're in those homes? Of course, the topic, the gentrification of the inner city is happening. It's happened. It's not happening. It has happened. And hey, citizens were forewarned of what was coming down the pipe. Yes, they were. This just didn't happen overnight. They just didn't come in and take over and kick folks out. They, like I said, when I came to Durham in 97, I can remember reading a newspaper article where they talked about what was coming to these communities. A lot of that, at that time, a lot of the city council members, they were saying that it was just too much. There's a lot of needed and wanted repair and upgrades that need to happen in Durham, and it has happened. But those disenfranchised, I have complained that, hey, we weren't included in the process. And they weren't. These are a lot of out-of-town developers. There's a lot of developers that are coming off of that West Coast. They bought up a lot of property, a lot of land here in Durham. So they're developing these new, let's just call them what they is, these new communities, and they aren't including those underserved, the minorities. If you're saying to yourself, well, I would hope that that affordable housing would be on his list or top of his list, maybe not. That was on the list of the current mayor also. I wonder what happened, because they have always said, and they're steady saying, yeah, we're going to build more affordable housing, but you don't see that. For these millennials, hey, they're saying, hey, we don't want to live in a home right now. We want to stay somewhere. So they're building a lot of condos. And these condos, they ain't just $400 or $500 a month condos. We're talking $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 a month. So, truth be told, in all honesty, you and I know that does not include those that are underserved, those that are working every day. Sorry, I know I can't afford an apartment for $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 a month, or a condo for that amount. There's no way. So with this new mayoral candidate, Senator Woodard, you gotta question, based off of that statement, the beginning of this statement saying that Durham has got a lot of great opportunity in the next few years. That's growth potential. That's growth opportunity. There's economic boom. And the other challenges, the crime, the drugs, the homelessness, those folks that work every day that can't afford a decent place to stay. That's the challenges. Not a priority. It's not. Let's be honest with each other. State senator or no state senator, former city council member or no former city council member, it appears he's in it for the long haul or long game. Yeah. It is what it is, folks. It just is. I mean, hey, who could fault him? Who could fault them? Or who could fault these developers that are coming from halfway across the country buying up land and property? I mean, if you're in the business of real estate and development, these are the blighted communities. These are what you look for. This is where you invest your money and see a return on your investment, maximum return. Durham, like so many other places in this country, it was allowed. Let's just be honest with each other. It was allowed to go down, and that's the number one talking point for those that speak on this urban renewal, gentrification. How these communities were allowed to just fall apart, fall to pieces. Yes, they were. Once again, if you're a developer or you're into real estate, that's what you want. You can get it at a low price, and then turn around and sell it or lease it or rent it at a high price. Maximum return on your investment. It's just business, nothing personal. Not being an arrogant, you know what? But I mean, hey, we've been on this earth long enough. We know that's the name of the game. That's how the game rolls. That's business. So with him announcing his mayoral run, and the regular citizens sitting around looking, if you guys haven't started questioning his motive, you might be tardy to the party again, friend. You might not even get there. because I got a sneaky suspicion. Like, hey, I'm not no conspiracy nut job. I'm not. But some things are blatantly obvious. Some things are right in front of your face and you just can't deny it. The troubles here in Durham with the economy for certain folks and living conditions for certain folks, it is number one on their list. Yeah, they're good with the growth and development, but how much of the growth and development can they withstand if they're being X'd out? And they just are. It's not one of those things where you can sit around and say, "Oh, you're just making a fuss about nothing." You can see it every day. I know I do. I don't know about the rest of you here in the Bull City, but I see it every day. Just to give you a glaring example, when I talked about the building of the new apartment buildings, the condos and townhomes and whatever or what have you, and the businesses, the multi-level businesses where they have condos on the top floor and then retail space and restaurant space on the bottom. Where I work, I can stand outside and I can see Durham skyline, and in the past 4, 5, going into 10 years, that skyline has changed. Once prominent business that had a building downtown Durham, Mutual Life Insurance, that stood as the tallest building in Durham at one point, along with another one, CCB, which was an old bank here in Durham. They've been dwarfed. It has the skyline here has changed, and it is filled with those townhomes, those condos, and those bottom retail and restaurant spaces. So that's the growth that is going on in Durham. Just is. So if you're like me and you're saying to yourself, what is this guy's real motive? When is he going to come out and give a real statement as to what he plans to do or what he has in mind? You're anxiously awaiting, because many are saying already that if he's running for mayor, he might be a shoo-in. He might be the one that can turn Durham around and get it. Well, I don't know about turning around as far as the challenges, but he certainly will give it a great boost in its growth and development. Think about it. Yeah, he will. He just will. So we'll see what happens with that. I mean, hey, what are you going to do? I don't mean to sound like a butthead here, but when you don't have any chips, bottom line, and this is about as true as the day is long, when you don't have any chips, money, real estate, you don't have any bargaining power. You get what you get. And I think that has been the problem here in Durham for so long. So many folks took things for granted. And now they're standing around and they're looking and they're saying to themselves, well, wait a minute, hold on, wait a minute. There's a lot of growth going on, a lot of building, and we're being left behind. Well, like I told you, this that is happening now has been in place since I came to Durham in '97. There were a lot of community meetings. There were a lot of city council open door sessions. A lot of community growth and development programs were put together that they went to the city council and told what their plans were. But a lot of folks didn't pay attention. This is the end result. It just is. So with him him running for mayor along with those other 3 candidates, it looks like Durham is going to continue to grow. And those challenges, like we all know, those challenges are usually in underserved neighborhoods, those folks that are marginalized. So it's always been a mantra, always been a mindset that if you can confine that to one area, you're good. Looks like it's a continuation, but it won't be in that downtown area. Folks are being pushed out to the city and county lines and limits. Can't have you standing in the way of all this great money that's getting ready to come through Durham. A lot of businesses are trying to come into Durham also. A lot of tech companies, a lot of startup companies, a lot of entrepreneurs. You know, as I mentioned earlier, that Tobacco Trail Warehouse District, I hadn't been down there in a while. You know, COVID kind of threw everything off for me, and I always visited that place because I would always walk through and see what was going on. It's always an interesting thing to see the businesses that are there. And man, when I went through a few weeks ago, a lot of those businesses I didn't recognize. They weren't there. Some have left. A lot has came in. So if you don't believe growth is going on in Durham, let's take a walk around. You can go down Main Street. Go through that historic tobacco warehouse district. Those buildings aren't sitting empty anymore. A lot of money has been poured into downtown Durham and its surrounding communities. Like I said, those one-time dilapidated, blighted communities and houses, they're gone. They've all been replaced and rebuilt or refurbished. Yeah, they have. They just had. Well, I'll keep you guys updated on that. Looks like Durham is it. A lot of eyes on Durham. Finally, like I said, Durham stayed blighted and ran down and just horrible for so long. It doesn't look like it's going to be that way anymore. Just isn't. Well, that's all for me today, and I want to thank you all for lending me your ears this morning. Continue to like, support, share, offer feedback. Anchor, which I'm sharing this with, has a great feature where you can leave a voice response, and I would love to hear your voice, so offer feedback. You can also make monetary contributions. Continue to follow and listen on, of course, Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Verbal, and WordPress, and YouTube. Hit that like and subscribe button so you can get notified wherever you are streaming. Keep you in the loop. And as always, my name is Stephen Carnegie. Thank you for listening. This is Just a Thought. Amen.